All right, guys, so I've actually had it for a few days, but this is the day one video. I forgot to make a walk around intro. So this is my new toy. It's a 1997 Daihatsu HIJET. More specifically, these things are, the models are actually in the VIN number. So this is referred to as an S110P. Let me show you what I mean there. S110P. It's also on this nameplate here. So I'm going to refer to it as an S110P because the models are confusing, and that's a very specific way to refer to it. This is something I've been shopping for a long time. I finally found what I wanted. It's got rear diff lock, it's got four-wheel drive, it's got low range, 5-speed with air conditioning. You can see the big old condenser here. This is, like, in my opinion, the holy grail. I don't know everything about these. If there's a better model I should have got, please let me know. I don't know. I haven't done all that much research. I was between this and the Carry, Suzuki Carry. But I went with the HIJET because I just had a lot of reviews from people who used it off-road and loved it, and it's easy to lift. So I've already got a 2-inch lift coming for it and some heavy-duty front springs. May end up beefing up the rear springs and rear shocks eventually. But it's just super awesome and functional. I love these K-trucks. I've wanted one for a really long time. According to Progressive, who I have it insured with right now, it's considered a micro truck. That's important to know. It's also important to know that when you call an insurance company, you have to add zeros to your VIN number until it gets to 17 digits. Otherwise, they won't insure it. But I got it insured. So I'm just going to tell you a few things about why I liked it and why I bought it. It's super practical. It's super tiny. It fits in my garage, takes up the same space as that Can-Am, essentially. But it has a bigger bed than most trucks nowadays, right? You can fit that Can-Am in the bed, and there's no weight on the tailgate. It actually fits on the bed, which you'll see. It's super practical. It's 660 cc's. I did 62 miles an hour in it without any mods. That's just how I bought it right out of the box. So I'm pretty happy with that. The bed's really maximized. The sides are thin. There's a cutout here to give you as much bed space as you can. And the sides fold down flat, or fold down 180 degrees. So when you want to lean over to work on it to get to the engine in here, the carburetor, distributor, it's very easy to do. It's super tiny 12-inch wheels. With little tiny 145 tires on it. They're like 21 inches tall or something like that. But it's a functional car. It's got headlights, high beams, low beams, turn signals, wipers, squirters, AC, heat, defrost, and it's right-hand drive, which is hilarious. It's a manual, which is fun. High and low range, you got 10 forward gears, and the gearing is pretty good. And push-button diff lock. I mean, what more do you want? I paid $4,000 for it, which I think is a pretty good deal. I am still working to get it through the title system and title application, all that stuff, so that's going to cost me a little more. I bought it directly from an importer. I didn't import it myself because I wanted to have one here to look at. I didn't want to do a sight unseen type thing because I didn't want to buy a piece of junk. And this thing is really complete and really nice. Everything, all the components on it look brand new, all the diaphragms and the four-wheel drive system. I took a few apart just to check it out. Everything looks good. It's very cherry. Yeah. So I'm really happy with it so far. It's super practical and small. Like, your feet go way up into here. And if you see what I'm saying here, your feet go to here. So there is no wasted space in this thing. I'm gonna get underneath it and show you what I like about it so much. But basically, it just reminds me of my 80 series, or my 1988 Toyota 4Runner. Just everything's just scaled down and smaller. What do I plan to do with it? Well, I've already taken it to Holopole once. So I plan to do stuff like that, use it in the neighborhood like a golf cart, and then I'll probably throw the Can-Am or the XR on the bed of it and take it to my local trails. The XR not so much, so I can just drive it to those local trails, but I might do it for shits and giggles. But yeah, let's get underneath it. So I gotta go turn the flashlight on. That's the big old condenser for the AC. That's pretty cool. Let's look under here. So there's the back axle. It's a leaf spring. It's already got a spring over. Very nice clearance setup with the U-bolts. It's a vacuum operated rear locking differential, but it looks just like a baby Toyota 8-inch. And then you got a little tiny drive shaft, and it comes up to the transfer case transmission unit. That big diaphragm right there that looks like it's leaking is your four-wheel drive actuator. I took it apart and it dumped some oil out, but it's not leaking. I've also messed with the wiring a little bit, and I'll show you that in another video. There's the starter, automotive style starter. You got a clutch right in here, and then you got your oil pan behind this little skid plate. You can show you right there, oil pan. And there's your front diff up there, and some AC lines and stuff. I just did a full oil change service on it. Everything looked good. The front diff was milky, but wait till you see the Holopole video and you'll understand why. If you look in the front bumper, you'll see there's not much in here. There are heater core hoses and stuff, but if you look back way in there, you'll see the radiator. And that's because the radiator's under your seat. So there's a tunnel that delivers a little bit of air, that tunnel right there, to the radiator. And I'll show you what it looks like under the seat. So there's your big old radiator. Fan works, I checked that out. All the coolant lines look decent. Those little actuators right there are for your front end, your front axle lock. As you can see, I've done some modifying already. But yeah, little alternator, there's your AC compressor, and there's your cylinder head. So it's a 3-cylinder, 660cc engine that lays kind of sideways this way. So it's really flat. It does hang down kind of far. Those are your shields for your exhaust. Batteries right here way in the open. It's sweet. This axis right here gets you to your carburetor and your distributor. And those are the two things I don't like about this truck. Those are the downsides. It's got a carburetor and distributor. Both of those things are a pain in the ass for deep water. And of course, I'm gonna snorkel this thing and all that. So that'll be interesting to keep it waterproof. I have had years of experience being mad at distributors and alternators and carburetors underwater. So maybe I can make it work, we will see. So far in this configuration, it can only go through about a foot of water before the distributor gets mad. But the distributor cap is old and stuff. Once I tune all that up, maybe it'll help. But anyway, here's some clips of us dicking around with it in the yard and putting stuff in the bed. And coming shortly, there's a long version of the whole Paul ride we did on the Patreon page, and then a short version that I'm just gonna put for everyone on YouTube. I hope you guys like it. I'm really looking forward to this build, and can't wait to get it street legal and drive this sucker everywhere. This vehicle, it was amazing, but it was missing a key feature. The diff lock was not working. And after driving it around for a few minutes, it has mended itself. So right now, open differential. Let me spin it real fast so you can hear it engaged. Press the diff lock button. Boom! She locked. Fucker's mint. So full disclosure, I'm dumb. The diff lock always worked. You just have to be in first gear for diff lock to engage. I was trying it in second gear. I have now mended that with a very easy mod. I'll show you that in another video.
You don't have to worry about breaking the back window.
Alright, so we got the 2023 XMR 700 Outlander on 32-inch Aztecs loaded on to the 1997 Daihatsu HIJET baby truck. It looks pretty hysterical due to the difference in wheel and tire size. This has 14s, this has 12s, but this has 21s, and this has 32.5s right now. Because of the way the bumper sticks forward, my tires don't actually hit first, which is annoying, but luckily the back window is protected by some good old Japanese steel. And it fits in here pretty well. So if you can see on the side here, we got about an inch on this side of the tire to the bed side, and we got an inch on this side. And that's with wider tires with 1-inch rear wheel spacers, 5+2 offset wheels, so that's really good. This has a much bigger bed than a Tacoma or most other trucks because the wheel wells don't subtract from the bed. Unfortunately, we can't close the back tailgate. We're probably going to put a strap to hold it about like that. But, you know, at least the weight of the tires on the bed and not on the tailgate, like with most modern trucks, so that's good. If we get down here and we look at the suspension, let's see how close we are to hitting the bump stop. Oh man, the bump stop has just barely contacted the strike pad, which is actually better than I expected. This Can-Am's pretty heavy. We don't know the exact weight, but well over 800 pounds. This truck's rated for 770 pounds, I think. So it's definitely abusive, but it's carrying it quite well. Yeah. So now we're gonna drive it around and see how it does. There's no real good tie down points. It's another thing we're gonna have to add into the bed, but it's definitely a machine, to say the least. All right, so it's towing pretty good. The tires aren't even squatting that much. Can you go to 0.6, Charlie?
Oh, yeah, we already are.
Okay. We're gonna do our first obstacle here. It's a slight dip at the end of the driveway. We'll see how she handles it. Front tires will probably come off the ground. Not bad at all. Oh, wow. Pretty decent. Yeah. So this thing is towing almost as much as it weighs at the moment. You really don't notice the weight back there. It's just such a torquey 3-cylinder 660cc engine. Up to the floor. There it goes. Worth noting, the Can-Am is It's not strapped in, but the Can-Am has a hydraulic parking brake, which is one of the better things about Can-Ams. Stop at the stop sign and bail the loss to the first gear. Accelerate smoothly because there's no straps. It wouldn't be the first time I've had an ATV fall out of the back of a truck or off a trailer, so whatever. And this thing is fully insured now for $1 million a year. No, $1,200 a year at Progressive. What the hell? In 4 years, it'll cost me more to insure this thing than it will to own it. No, this is excellent. See how it handles with extra weight? Not bad. The bump stops are acting like a rear sway bar, if you think about it. It's adding stiffness, which is all a sway bar does. Pretty premium. All right, so there's an astounding number of ways that this little mini truck was designed for putting a dirt bike in the bed. Actually, you know, I think they call it a micro truck. At least that's what my insurance said it was. So when you're loading it, you can fold this down. So obviously fold that down too. And it lets you walk along the side of the truck very easily loading the dirt bike. It's got very low bed height. That's super clutch. It's got these big groove cutouts in the front of the bed. Perfect for putting your front tire against. Now putting two full-size dirt bikes in the back of this thing would be a little tricky because you have to cock it sideways to close the rear tailgate. So that's a little annoying. I'm sure you could make it work if you got real creative, but with one it works really nice. And there's decent tie downs from the factory with this little headache rack here, which is tied into the cab in several places, so it's pretty sturdy. Of course, a light in case you need to do anything back here. But yeah, that's pretty mint how it mounts. I'd obviously like to have some mounts down here, but there is a nice bolt there, a pretty good sized bolt, so I might just add a loop on that bolt to have two tie downs that'll better compress the forks. But man, that looks pretty good. Oh man, let's step back so you can appreciate the greatness of the 2001 XR 400R in the back of the 1997 Daihatsu HIJET. So these two vehicles are from the same era, and you can tell they just look phenomenal together. This is a great pairing. The hardest part about owning this mini truck so far is I walk up to this door every time, go to get in, and there's no steering wheel. I also wanted to point out that it's made to put on a trailer with rails where the door's cut out. You can open the door fully and it doesn't hit your trailer rail, which is great. Also, look how close your butt is to the tire. So the top of the strut is literally an inch from your thigh. There's no wasted space anywhere on this truck. Because the backrest curves slightly this way, like you want a seat rest to, they use that space to give you a little more in the bed. Everything is maximized, full utility. Nothing here about show or whatever. Everything's easy to get to. Batteries right there. Spare tires right there. Don't hide stuff, just put it where it's easy to get to. This thing's pretty clean. It's got a little bit of corrosion, but it's got, you know, the factory tools back here, factory jack under that seat, AC and everything. I mean, I can't understand the value for these trucks. It's just phenomenal.